Hello, empowered woman. Welcome to this bonus episode where I extracted the audio from a recent training inside my Facebook group, the Empowered Woman Community. I called it Building Relationships 101 and shared all my tips on starting meaningful conversations using social media to grow your business by focusing on being a resource to others and not with just the intention of selling. I also announced my upcoming webinar, Engage to Serve, happening on December 10th at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Register at marchesburg.com/webinar. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Empowered Woman Podcast, the #1 show on personal development for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to stop spinning your wheels, trying random personal development resources, and actually boost your confidence to show up fearlessly in your life and business, this is the place for you. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurg, and I'm your host, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again. Let's dive into today's episode. To share with you a little bit more about building relationships. And if you're watching me live, let me know if you're there. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, also let me know. Hi, Regina. Excited to have you join me. You are always up and working, even when it's late hours of the night. You're amazing. Let me pull up my slides. I am so excited to do this presentation because with all the content that I put out last month and early this month, hi, Krishna. I talked a lot about content, creating content, and even market research. And then I started thinking how everything is very related to building relationships. That when you are creating content, you are engaging with somebody. And when you are asking questions and doing market research, you are engaging with somebody else. And that put me in the space of understanding how being an entrepreneur is all about human connection. And I know that even though social media is an amazing tool, it's also a very dangerous space where we forget, because we're using technology, we forget that we are connecting with other human beings. And then we create this huge pressure of numbers and income and the next sale, and we lose that heart. And then it becomes extremely overwhelming. We get discouraged. We lose that passion and that fire for what we do. And that's not the reason why we start a business. So let me know if you resonate with this, because this is about to get really, really good. I am so excited. Hi, Allison. Thank you for joining me. So let me know if you resonate with this in the sense of social media is a great tool, but at the same time, it's tricky because you don't see the other side. So you don't have that same connection as you would with a person. And I touched on this a little bit last month when I did the webinar, Repurpose Like a Boss, and also the workshop, that we need to remember that we are a person. And that really allows us to connect with the other side and with our audience and with our potential clients in a deeper way, because we are connecting with ourselves. So now I want to take this up a notch and talk about how important this connection really is, and how creating your content with your audience in mind makes such a difference, because you come from a place of serving, of service, and not from a place of desperation and anxiety. And that makes all of the difference for getting people to really think that working with you is a no-brainer. That's what I have been experiencing this year. And that's what I want to share with you and hear your input on this as well. Hi, Allison. Who's watching me? Let me know where you're watching from, what time it is, if you're resonating with what I'm saying. So building relationships one-on-one, learning to serve and not sell. And I want to preface this with, yesterday I started asking some questions, following my own methodology that I have been teaching of, if you're going to put out a content, start asking some questions, start priming your audience for that stuff, and really to see how they respond. And I had lots of people answer to this question: serving versus selling. How do you differentiate the two? And some people were saying, I got an interesting response that said, when you market well, you don't sell. And others saying people don't like being sold to because there is a trigger in our brain that whenever we know the sale's coming, we kind of tend to repel that. And we kind of tend to see that as hostility. And we tend to take a step back and say, no, this is not for me. Do you know this reaction? Whenever somebody's talking, you're like, oh, here it comes. Oh, here it comes. Kind of like when you are, I don't know if you ladies have had this experience, but you're at a resort and you get, you come across someone from timeshare and they're like, if you show up to this presentation, I will give you free tickets to the show. And you're like, oh, I'm going to sit through a thing where they're just going to want to sell to me. And I'm going into this willingly to say no, just because I want to go. I've done this a couple of times with my husband going on vacation. So we know this, right? And then I had responses from people saying, that is not true. Selling and serving go hand in hand, because if I can't sell to you, then I can't serve you, right? And I wanted to really clarify here this today, because I know that there are several mentors that say, don't use the word sell. Don't even think about selling. You're not selling. And it makes you think that selling is a bad thing. Even if you don't think that it is, it's gotten this big bad rap. And so then you already start creating these preconceptions in your mind. And the reason behind all of this is that human connection and that intention that gets lost in the process when we're desperate because we need to make money. Okay. Tell me if I'm making any sense here. So this is what I've learned, and this is a quote from me. I usually get quotes from someone else, but I've been so amazed at my own wisdom that I'm using my own quotes. If you are truly confident in what you have to offer, you genuinely connect with others to be a resource. Because that's truly what a master and a teacher is, right? They have this knowledge. They're bursting at the seams with this amazing wisdom. And when they see someone struggling with something, so be it in the health space, Allison, that you have so much knowledge with, you see someone struggling with pain, or you see someone struggling with weight, and you know you can help that person. And you would even do it for free because you have such knowledge and you know you could help that person. Isn't that what we are as entrepreneurs and business owners? We have a solution for these people. And at the end of the day, we want to be a resource. We want to help them. Even if they can't hire us, we can refer them to somebody else. We can give them some resources. But we know that without us, they're probably not going to get very far. And that's how we make a living, right? Then you hire me and I can help you and I can hold your hand. And somewhere along our journey, we may lose sense of this, that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you hire me or not. We get our emotions in place, which is tricky. And this is what I've been understanding too, is that we need that passion to fuel us, to get us up in the morning and go to work. But then when you meet someone that is like that one person that needs your help the most and they say, no, I can't, it's hard to take a more analytical approach and say, I don't understand why they didn't just sign up with me. I clearly can help them. And then you get into the anxiety, desperation, discouragement mode. You get your emotions involved, but in a way, involved in something that you can't control, because you can't control your passion into imparting that knowledge, but you can't control that person's commitment, right? And I think that's where I think the wires get crossed, is that we really need that balance, which I hate that word, but we really need to find that harmony between the passion that fuels us and the detachment from people's results or from people's connection with us and from the sale, because we can't control that. We can only control how much of our heart we put into what we do. And the more we learn how to do that intentionally and strategically, the easier it'll be for people to say, take my money. You see what I mean? So it's really finding that balance, because it's not like you're going to be a complete statue, emotionless. People are not going to connect with that. But when it comes to the sale, and that's why coaches say, don't sell, serve. If you're too attached with that person's response of yes or no, you're not going to get very far, because then you're going to go get into that dark place of, they don't want what I have to offer, I must suck. It's completely separate from your identity and your expertise and your wisdom. And we tend to forget that. Okay, I'll stop rambling. Let's keep going. So over the years, I've seen so many entrepreneurs get sidetracked with relationship building because we forget what that means. and we're just looking at numbers, right? I need to make that next sale. It's the 31st of the month. I need one more person to sign up for my program. Otherwise, I'm not going to, make my goal or whatever it is. And a lot of that is because we're lacking self-awareness. So then comes in the Enneagram and all the work that I do with personalities, because you start being able to see and take that observer stance to yourself and say, why am I in a dark place right now? Oh, because that person said no to me. If you're not aware, you don't even know why you're unmotivated. And you lose control of your own emotions because you're attaching your worth to that person signing on or not, to that person liking or commenting on your post. And there has to be this detachment. And that's where the self-awareness is so important. And most entrepreneurs lack it. And that's why they get discouraged and they give up, or they don't see the results in their business. They depend on external validation. Exact same thing. If this person specifically that I just had this amazing call with says no to me, this must mean I suck. You take things personally, again, because you are not self-aware and you're not learning to separate yourself and take that analytical stance to what you're doing. Hi, John. And finally, letting other people's definition of success determine their happiness. How many other entrepreneurs you follow that are doing amazing, allegedly, you don't know, right? That, say that they're making six figures or whatever it is. You get into that comparison trap. The reason why you get in the comparison trap to begin with is because you're not self-aware, is because you're depending on that external validation instead of being very clear on what your passion is and how you want to help people, and just stay in your lane and in your own world. You're not clear on what your goals are because you're competing with somebody else's goals, and you don't even know if their goals are in alignment with themselves because maybe they're not even self-aware to begin with. So why do we even look that way? And that's, again, the social media trap. We forget that as much as we are struggling, that person, regardless of how much money they're making or how much success they appear to have, they're struggling in some area in their life. Can I get an amen? Jessica said amen. Whoever you are inspired by, and even if it is me, make no mistake, there are areas in my life that I still struggle with constantly. Nobody's perfect, right? And having that awareness and remembering this is what allows you to build different relationships and deeper connections. This is what I have been learning, especially this year, okay? So moving on, what I already said, social media, it's a great tool. It's amazing. I mean, pandemic times, if we didn't have social media, I don't even know what we'd be doing, right? I mean, but then it's also a dangerous trap. So it's a great tool if you're being social. How many people have you seen? Hi, Cher. She says amen too. How many people have you seen? There are many marketing experts and things that say, make social media social. Let's be social. Let's have conversations. Let's build relationships. And I understood this concept. It's social media. You talk to people. But then how do I make a sale if I'm not going to slide in the DMs and cold messaging? Like, I don't even know how to approach that. And going back to, I don't know if I said this right now or in my live video earlier, your coach tells you build relationships and act like a human being, not like a robot. So what does that mean? I'm going to have a billion Zoom calls every single day so I connect to a billion people. Like, I don't have hours in the day, and I'm going to be making that one call, and then no sale is going to come out from that. It's just like, where am I getting with this? So you understand the concept of social, but it's not as easy as it seems. And then the dangerous trap is social media really has a way of exposing your insecurities. Does it not? Because you start comparing, because you see as you scroll how you get triggered. Man, I wish my life was like this. Or why did she post that? Is she talking to me? Is that a message to me? How many times have you seen a friend's post and you're like wondering, is she talking to me? Is she calling me out? Like, we create this whole different universe in our heads just with social media. And this is what I wanted to really touch on today in talking about building relationships, is to kind of put you outside of the social media bubble and understand what building a true connection with a human being means. And it has everything to do with connecting with yourself first, and then understanding how to create audience that engages. All right, so let's talk about selling again. What is the problem with this word? And going back to what I said, I've had so many mentors say, don't use that. Don't say that. What am I going to sell? Or I need to sell. Don't use that word. And it's always kind of bugged me. Like, so I'm not supposed to use that. That's what I'm doing. Why am I not supposed to use that word? And again, I think there is confusion with this, because it's not that the word is bad, is that there is that fear, and that there is those triggers, going back to the timeshare stuff. The sale's coming, you already get defensive. I don't want to be sold to. Except we're buying things all day, every day. Of course, I like being sold to. Of course, I like buying. But the intention behind it and the sleaziness behind it is what repels me. So how do you go from sleazy to I truly want to serve, and I truly want to share my knowledge and wisdom with you because I know you could benefit from it. I know my experience can be a shortcut for you. It could save you time and it could save you money if you would just hear me out and buy my offer. So the reason why selling, coming from a selling perspective, not that selling is a bad word, is problematic and is not a way of building relationships, is because it comes from a scarcity mindset, right? If you don't buy from me right now, I'm not going to make it this month. I'm depending on you to make the sale, which means I'm going to push and I'm going to ask you questions and I'm going to follow up with you a day later because I'm desperate. You're desperate. You're anxious. Is this really a way that you build relationships with people? No, this is a really great way to taint your image and your reputation. And something that I learned even the hard way, starting with network marketing, and that's why network marketing has a bad rap. And it's a fabulous model. People make millions with this, right? But some don't teach a good, true human connection method, right? And it ends up being inauthentic because you're just copying what somebody else is doing. Oh, my upline sends at least 20 messages a day. Those are the things I was trained to do. And that I was like, I need to distance myself from this. I want to be real. I don't want to be treating people like just a number because I don't like being treated like a number. And it goes back to golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would that they would do to you. And that's why selling is problematic. Not that the word is problematic, but the intention behind it. So if you don't want to call it selling, call it desperation. Are you approaching your audience out of desperation or out of a servant's heart? So if there's a problem with the word sell, because I know some people were like, serving and selling goes hand in hand. People do like being sold to. Okay, it's just semantics at this point. What I'm trying to get at is, if your intention behind the stuff that you put out is, let me make a buck from you, instead of, I have a solution and I know you can benefit from, there is a difference. Can you tell me if you understand that there is a difference here? Have you noticed this in your own business and in your own content? The times when you were just, I'm going to put this out there and see what happens. You actually had a better return than when you were pushy. And even if you did have a good return being pushy, how did it feel? Because that's something else too. And that's where we get into serving. The feeling when you are serving is a feeling of abundance. Whether you say yes or no, it doesn't matter because I know what I have to offer. Back to my quote in the beginning. You're so confident in what you have that you just want to be a resource. How can I help? You know? Yes, Patty, there you go. Peace, self-assurance, right? I'm at peace. I'm not depending on you buying from me today, because if you don't, I know there's other people out there, right? There's other fish in the sea. And it's easy to say when in the heat of the moment of the desperation, right? You're like, this sucks. I wish there was another person that, would sign up right now. I was aiming for 5 and I only got 4 and I'm going to cry, which been there, done that. And honor yourself in this process as well, right? It's not about beating yourself up for feeling sad. That's okay. Emotions are just, emotions. Feel through them, but then take that observer stance and look at yourself and say, why are you so upset about this? What can you do different next time? And that's where the authenticity comes into play as well. Honoring yourself into understanding that you are not like any other entrepreneur because nobody else is you. So even if you're following under a coach and following the strategies that they're teaching, it may not work exactly by the book as it did for their testimonials. You may have to tweak it a little bit. And that's why that self-awareness is so important. That's why defining your own definition of success is so important instead of scrolling and looking at that other person that allegedly is so happy making 6 figures, if even, right? Sometimes people say they are and they're not. You don't know. So this is the difference, the intention behind it. Okay. And so what are some ways to connect authentically? So I want to share with you now, getting to the point. Okay, Marta, thanks for all that information into, sell, serve, don't sell. So what are some ways that I have used recently throughout this year that has been really, really helpful to me? And I will say that these are things that I have heard before, and I never really was consistent. And I know why I wasn't consistent is because I wasn't clear on how I could help those people, and I wasn't confident in myself. So that's why the self-awareness work and the really nurturing of yourself and your personality comes into play, because then you get confident in what you have to offer. Offer help and support in free groups. I have heard so many different coaches say that. Get into a group and look for posts that, are relevant to your niche and offer value. I never really understood how I would do that until I got so clear on who I could help that instead of somebody saying, I'm looking for a coach, you go and you post in the group, I am a coach. Add some more information. Would you do that when somebody's asking for help? Would you just say DM me, or would you say, hey, I would suggest and I recommend, usually with my clients, I do X, Y, and Z. Act like a human being, right? Not like I'm a robot and you are a robot, so let's make this transaction. So genuinely offer support like you would if somebody was paying you for a little text message. Because isn't this what you do when you truly have something good to offer? So if somebody's saying, I'm struggling with engaging with my audience, and this is what you can help them with, or I'm struggling with my weight, you would say, what have you tried? Blah, 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 blah. You would kind of, probe them and ask questions. Do the same thing when somebody is asking for help. Don't just say, call me or check out my website. That's clearly not what they need. So it's adding that human connection piece into what you do. And another thing that has been super successful, and I see Eugenia, I don't know if Eugenia is still watching, and Patty and Allison, they're all from Tribe. This is something that has been so helpful to me, is engaging in a paid group. So if you're a part of a program, or if you were and you're still in a group, look for ways into connecting with those people in there. Why? Because if somebody paid to be in a group, they are allegedly more committed to themselves and to their business, in my case, because I work with business owners. They're more committed to themselves than in a free group, because in a free group, you get a mix of people from different levels, people that are not even there. Let's see. Allison says, I have been teaching free IG Live Pilates style exercises classes since March 31st, at first 6 times and currently 4 times a week. Long before I decided to do an online wellness membership. If any of you want to try my classes, just let me know and I'll share my IG details. There you go. Provide some value and engage with everything that you do. And I love that you're doing, free stuff to get people to get connected with what you already do. So offer help and support in paid groups that you are in programs that you are in, becoming a resource. Really, and that's something that I've learned from other mentors, that if you are a referral machine, you are a referral magnet. People really, really support people that support them. So if you have someone that's constantly referring you, aren't you more inclined to refer them too? So think about that, right? Golden rule, once again. And another thing that's been helpful to me is creating a power partner network that breeds into referrals. What does that mean? Is whenever you have those Zoom calls that don't lead into a sale because it wasn't supposed to be a discovery call anyways, ask them, how can I help you? How can I connect you with? What are you looking for right now? Or even if it's not to a referral specifically, you could say, what is somebody or a niche that you'd like to connect with? Or who are you looking to connect with? Maybe you know someone and you can connect them with. I have had so many great experiences connecting people like that. And again, it makes you a resource. It's you getting known in different ways by different people because you're being helpful. That's what a power partner network is you have these Zoom calls and then you say, how can I help you? And also, would you be willing to share some of my resources whenever I'm promoting something, and I'd be happy to do the same for you. And then you do it. right? And then when somebody posts, you make it a point to comment. I have a list of people that have accepted to be in my Power Partner network. And then whenever I create a new resource, I can tag them into that post because I have their explicit permission. I know of people that tag a bunch of people in their posts, and they have never asked. They just assume we've talked once and I'll just put your name here. No, have a specific consent of, I would like to tag you. I would like to inform you. And if you want, I can send you the link and some copy for you to post on your wall if you're interested. So be very specific about, these business relationships. Again, human basics, human connection and relationship. Eugenia said yes for tribe. However, being spammy is a no-go there. Yes. So not being spammy, but if someone is asking for help, is really creating the habit of scrolling into these groups to offer your help, right? If somebody's struggling with something, even if it's not something connected to your niche, just, being a listening ear and saying, I have no input here, but if you need to talk, I can help you brainstorm, or whatever it is. Just being really a human and just connecting with people. So these are my tips for building relationships in this context that goes beyond, let's just have a Zoom chat, a coffee chat, and that nothing comes out of it except for, now I know you and I didn't know you before. Engage in a different way. Talk to them specifically about creating a Power Partner network, and talk about specific referrals. What would be a good referral for you? And keep note of that so that you can connect people in the future. So now, what are some other ways to connect with people besides going into groups and or having specific Zoom calls? Involve them in your content. So this is going back to what I've been teaching for the last couple months. Involve your audience in your content creation process. How many coaches have told you to create a lead magnet? How many coaches have told you to create an opt-in, a freebie? How much success have you had with that if you're not running ads? Are people on the go, automated, going on your bio and signing up for your freebie? I want a show of hands. Because it has been my experience, if you're not constantly promoting your freebie, or if you're not running ads, the chances of somebody going on your profile, unless you are super famous and have a bazillion followers and constantly gaining followers, it is not typical for people to go and sign up for your freebie just when they come across you if you are not intentionally promoting it. So what I have noticed to be even more effective is to involve your audience even before you come out with a free resource. And I recommend the free resource to be a training versus just a PDF, because how many PDFs have you signed up for that you didn't even open? Be honest. You got the email, you got the confirmation, yay, you got the PDF. Maybe you glanced at it right as you signed up on your phone, but then you never really went back into your email to watch the replay or to go check out the PDF. How many of those have you done? I've done a bazillion. And I'm always like, no, but this one I will. This one I will go back and look at, and I never do. And how many other people out there are doing the same thing with your resource? So instead of doing that, have a promotion strategy for your freebie by asking people what they want from you. So if you already have an idea of what a good free resource would be, before you even put it out there, ask questions and say, do you know what XYZ is? People say yes, no, blah, blah, blah. Would you like more information? What is your biggest struggle in this aspect? Blah, 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 blah. And then you say, I think I'm going to be doing a training to break this down since you guys clearly need help with this. What would you like to see in this training? See what I mean? So it's not tomorrow I say, I'm going to do a training on X, Y, and Z. Let's see who shows up. And this is different depending on the size of your audience, right? Because Amy Porterfield, if she said in her Instagram, I'm doing a training impromptu tomorrow, she would have 1 billion people show up live. But that's not the case, I would assume, for you and me, for most of you watching me. So how do you prime them for that? You have to prime your audience for the free too. Because guess what? If you prime them for the free, the chances of them actually buying your paid offer that you're going to make, the pitch in your free, are so much greater because they've already seen the value, and that's why they signed up for the free. Okay? So, bottom line, don't create a free offer without asking your audience if they want it. You're going to create it anyways. but make them a part of the process. Do not launch a free offer without a pre-launch. Prepare them for it. And check this out. Isn't this relationship building? Oh, think about courtship. Think about first base, second base. You don't skip first date. I mean, some people might, but in general terms, there was a whole process of, okay, let's see where this is going. Let's see what we're doing, right? Why would it be any different with your free content? And that's how you can have so much fun showing up online, because your free content actually has a purpose, because you're going to lead them into the paid. It's so much more fun because you're treating your free like paid. See what I'm doing there? That's how you're serving and not selling. You're treating your free content like paid content, because you know that if you do an amazing job priming them and they sign up for the free, they're going to want in on the paid. So that's why you go balls to the wall. You go all out into your free content, because you know that they will still need your help after they see all this value. And this is what I have gotten, especially with my last webinar, people saying your free content was amazing. How could I not go and pay for your workshop? So this is the formula, my friends. And then when you create a paid offer, don't create a paid offer without asking them what they want. And then don't launch a paid offer without a pre-launch. Everything needs to be pre-launched, and everything needs to have some kind of a priming process. Bottom line, don't do anything before involving your audience, because it's not going to fly unless you're Amy Porterfield, which is not the case here. So you need to prime your audience. And this is even something that people have said that Amy does. I haven't followed her content to a T a whole lot, but saying that she encourages people to use the language that you use in your paid stuff in your free stuff, because that primes your audience too. They're going to learn more in depth what they are already learning in the free version. So if you want to learn how I got over 100 signups without ads or DMs for my last webinar, how did I do it? No ads, my friends. I didn't send a single DM inviting people to the workshop. I did, or for the webinar. I think what I did was I created a Facebook event, and the people that checked going that didn't register, I followed up with them and said, hey, you said you were going, but you're not on my list. That's the only thing that I did do in terms of following up. But I did not go on my list and say, hey, I'm doing this webinar, sign up here. I did not. And I've always done that. But this last one, I did not. And I had over 100 people sign up just from my social media posts. Just from my posts. How did I do that? Power Part Network, I talked to people and said, would you share this? And can I tag you when I share it? I got their consent, and some of them did share on their wall, and I got a couple signups from that. I engaged in groups. I offered support. People connected with me. They started seeing my content in my profile. Eugenia, you're one of them. I reeled you in because I engaged and I connected, right? You started seeing my content on my profile once we became friends because of our connection in the group. And you were like, oh, I need this. Basics of human connection. And I involved my audience, breaking down the topics that would be covered. So before I actually pitch something paid, I start this process. I reverse engineer it into, I'm going to start talking about the topics, and I'm going to start breadcrumbing these people until my free. And in my free, I talk to them about the paid. So this is how I did it. And if you want to learn the specifics, come to my webinar. So I'm running the same webinar with tweaks, because I'm going to be talking more about serving than I did last time. Because last time I focused a lot on repurposing content. It's very similar concept, but I'm talking about engaging your audience to serve them. So creating content that allows you to connect authentically to attract clients. Because even though they're not your clients when they come to the free, the chances of them becoming a client, and more than that, raving fans, increases by the tenfold. So if you want to learn how to engage to serve, sign up for my webinar, martasburke.com/webinar. It's going to be happening December 10th at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. And I'm going to be giving you the specifics on how not to act like a robot, how not to be desperate on your social media and on your content, and really prime people to your stuff by asking questions, by testing different things, by doing market research, by offering help in groups, by being a resource, because that's how you want to build your reputation, right? This one person that comes to mind all the time when it comes to your niche, because you're so awesome and so genuine. Isn't that what you want to hear? And actually this morning I was just, I had a call with my coach, and I was, talking to him about my purpose and everything. And I remembered one of the members in my membership messaged me over the weekend saying, I'm sorry, I've been absent because I started a new job and I've been just trying to catch up. But I got to tell you, I love your membership, and just seeing you smile and hearing your voice encourages me. And that just overwhelmed me, because at the end of the day, isn't that what you want to be doing with your clients? And not even with your clients, but with the people that come across you. Don't you want them to feel warm and fuzzy in their hearts and say, just hearing your voice and seeing you smile, I feel better? Isn't that what you want to be portraying? Isn't that what you want to be conveying with your presence on social media? So I would love for you to sign up. It's free, obviously, and I'll be getting more in depth and in detail on how to create content that engages. Let's see, Allison says, I've been priming my IG audience who do my classes live or later on IGTV by talking about my upcoming paid membership at the end of each class for the past week or two. There you go. That's genius. So you're already you're planting the seed. That's probably something that we've heard too from coaches. You have to plant the seed, and there's a reason for that. You have to plant and you have to water it, right? Prepare them for it so that it's not caught by surprise. You have to make a decision right now, and then people are like, I don't even know what you're about. I'm not going to pay for this, So that's great, Allison. That's the way to do it. So I hope you guys can sign up for this, and I will be sharing more and talking more about it. Also, another thing, I would encourage you to get on this, especially if you're not on my mailing list, because I'll be releasing a podcast episode tomorrow talking about why I'm not doing a Black Friday sale. And instead, I will be doing a birthday sale. So stay tuned for that if you're not in my mailing list, because my birthday sale is going to be happening only for those in my list. So do you have to do paid Facebook and IG ads? So I did not. I have done ads for events and for things before, but this is what I'm saying. This method that I have been using of priming my audience has allowed me to get over 100 signups for my last webinar without doing any kinds of ads. It's literally been just the people that I'm connected with on Facebook and some on Instagram, just by putting out this content and really involving them in the content and saying, this is what I'm going to be teaching you in this webinar. And then once they come to the webinar, I say, let's keep working together. Okay. So I hope to see you there. Sign up, martasburg.com/webinar, and I will teach you how to engage to serve your audience and by default, build meaningful relationships. I think this is what I said. No Black Friday sale. I'm going to do a birthday special. So December 2nd is my birthday. Get on my list. So if you sign up for the webinar, you will be on my list. Okay. And you'll receive all the information, because it's a little ways out. It's 2 weeks away, the webinar, but I'm starting to promote it just because holidays, everything gets so confusing. So if you're not on my mailing list, get on my list, because I'm going to be doing a special for those of you on my list. All right. So I think this is it. Thanks so much for joining in. I hope this was helpful. Let me know, what was your biggest takeaway? What was something that you can walk out of here and saying, wow, I hadn't looked at this like this, or I hadn't thought of it like this? I would love your feedback. And if you want to tag someone here to come and check out this live afterwards. Also, we're almost to 700 members. I was thinking about this. I don't want to confuse everybody with a bunch of different promotions, but we're almost to 700 members in the group. And I would love to do some kind of drawing or contest. So add friends. If you have other entrepreneur friends that could benefit from this message, from building relationships and engaging their audience with their content and personal development and all things self-awareness, add them to the group. And I am proud to say that ever since that training last week, we've reached over 700 members. We're at 723 right now. And I did do a giveaway to celebrate. If you're not in the group, what are you even doing? Join us now. The link is in the show notes. And don't forget to sign up for the Engage to Serve webinar, martasburg.com/webinar.
I'll see you there. Until next time, bye.